It's finally happened. The Japanese gaming industry is getting scared and aggressive, and that's what we're seeing with a lot of the policy discussion around Square Enix changing its perspective on harassment of its employees. And this is the thing that has led to massive debate online talking about what's happening with the Japanese gaming industry when it comes to these new harassment policies that have been enforced by the Japanese government that is spreading across the industry to protect its employees from harassment from other companies. And this is the thing that we're having a debate about online. Why are they imposing these policies across Japanese gaming companies? And I think it comes down to the influence of global entities that are harassing Japanese companies to follow their political perspectives on certain issues. And I think that is what this law is trying to do. But of course, online people have a different perspective. They think this is against the customer base, the gamer base, which doesn't make sense to me in its entirety, because how are you going to impose this law on different customers or consumers within the country itself? Are you going to sue people that are talking bad about a video game online? But to go into the details and perspective of what this law is doing is trying to limit the harassment that a lot of employees and executives are getting from specific entities. And I think that is when we go down to that thought process. Are they talking about companies like Sweetbaby Inc? Because if you know anything about Sweetbaby Inc, they're known for their policy of harassing video game developers out of money and out of consultancy fees. And this is what we see with a lot of properties that have come out under the Sweetbaby Inc banner, where some companies paid them under duress of constant attacks from media and journalist organizations. And we can see this happening with Kim Belair herself, the CEO of Sweetbaby Inc, who says that is her case of convincing gaming studios to follow her instructions on how to produce a game. She says scare advertisers, pressure marketing executives, pressure advertising executives, pressure game directors to follow their strategy of imposing these strategic and progressive ideals into their video game properties. And that is their global strategy of influencing the gaming industry. So when I see these new harassment laws to protect employees and executives at Japanese gaming studios, I'm thinking this may be going against American consultancy firms that are out there to push their own political ideals onto other companies within the Japanese industry. So this is the policy I see growing out of that reaction to what we've been seeing from Sweetbaby Inc. like entities that do harass employees and executives to fall in line with their political ideology. You can see this happening with the Chinese developer Game Science, who are blackmailed and extorted for $7 million under the banner of Sweetbaby Inc. of delivering consultancy fees to include add and gender racial politics into a game about Chinese mythology. And that is the crazy and absurd part of this situation. If they did not follow that extortion fee, they'll be harassed and bullied by social media journalists consistently for the next 7 months. And that's exactly what happened to the Chinese developer Game Science. Once they balked at the $7 million extortion fee, they got 7 months of attacks from gaming journalists over their game. And of course, it had zero effect on the game's performance. It came out selling over 30 million copies, making $1 billion in a month or so. But the effect and causation of that entire situation is a direct example of what we've been seeing all throughout the gaming industry. If you don't pay up the extortion fees to get the consultancy work from Sweetbaby Inc., you're going to be harassed by online gaming journalists or big gaming magazines that actually have influence on what game can win Game of the Year. And you just saw recently, Black Myth Wukong failed at getting Game of the Year. That is a situation where we're seeing a cycle of harassment that is happening in the video gaming industry from these top consultancy firms that are looking to influence and engage and impose their political progressive ideals onto these gaming developers. And I think when we see this new law pop up, we see the customer harassment ordinance, but a lot of these game developers are customers as well. They're working with consultancy firms. And I'm thinking, okay, they are the customer. These consultancy firms are engaging in harassment and bullying, trying to get their way, trying to get these organizations to actually purchase their product. And these game developers are getting harassed incessantly at all levels. And I'm thinking that may be the case with this new Tokyo ordinance. I'm seeing that as being the situation, but of course, this can extend to the customers themselves. But seeing a lot of these Japanese game developers quickly have these policies in place makes me feel like this may be an attack against consultancy firms that are selling a product to these game developers. And these game developers are the customers of this product, these consultancy fees that are being extracted from these companies. And I'm thinking that may be the case with the situation. Of course, I may be wrong. I know a lot of people have the opposite idea that this is going to attack the consumer, the gamer, but that just doesn't make any sense to me at all, because if you're attacking the consumer, are you going to deprive them of their rights because they just don't like a video game, they say something bad online about your game? I don't think we're at that level in the Japanese government. We're not at the English Great Britain level where we have cops breaking into your house because you sent a mean tweet yet. I think this is something to defend the Japanese developers against the harassment from these consultancy firms, from these American institutions that threaten you. If you do not follow their program, they're going to attack you in the media in all sorts of ways. And they have now a Tokyo law that is there to actually protect the executives, protect everyone else that is getting consistently attacked from these organizations. Of course, I could be wrong. That could not be the situation in its entirety. It could be for a different reason that this law is being imposed, but I just want to bring a different perspective. I'm thinking this is another way to see this happening within the industry. I think it may be an idea where this government is trying to actually extend its protections on executives and customers, because that's what we saw from Sweetbaby Inc. That's what we saw from Kim Belair, where she explicitly says she's out there to harass the employees, then pressure the executives to get her way and to get control of this customer base by threats of degrading their personal image, threats of attacking them through media and journalist organizations. And I think this is the idea behind that law as well. And that is what I see protecting maybe some of these developers from a situation where they want to extract themselves from this DEI nonsense that has been widespread in the video gaming industry. And of course, if you see what's happening in the trend in society today, everyone is rejecting these DEI requirements. You can just see with Amazon winding down some of its DEI programs. You see this with Meta gutting its entire DEI program, and I think we're going to see that happening with a lot of the game developers as well, where they're going to try to gut these organizations, but they're still going to get the harassment campaign. Maybe these Tokyo laws are out there to protect them, and I think unfortunately for a lot of gaming studios, that protection is just insufficient. We can see that with Microsoft, with some of their DEI elements widely present and showing to the gamer that they're not going anywhere anytime soon, especially this image right here, which is a picture perfect of what Xbox is for the future. That's why I always say Xbox, no matter what, is going down the drain, because the executive staff just don't have their heads on straight, and they're just going down this hole of irrelevancy that is just not going to lead anywhere. Of course, Sony is in that situation as well. This is just a joke, but Sony may be better protected because they have Tokyo laws. They have these ordinances coming out where they can be protected by these aggressive institutions that are harassing their executives and employees to follow this ideology that is wrecking and ruining the entirety of the gaming industry. But maybe you don't believe me. Maybe you think this is an attack against the customer base. It's certainly a possibility. I'm not going to discount that, but I just want to give you a different perspective of what I think may be happening here. But you leave a comment, tell me what you think about the situation. I really would like to hear what you have to say. If you disagree with me, I would like to hear your counter argument, because I'm really unsure of where this law is going and how it will affect the Japanese gaming industry, but I'm hoping it's in a positive way. But you leave a comment, tell me what you think. Like, comment, share, subscribe. This is Wagner Knows Why. Catch you next time.